Yes, yes. Whitney Peyton right there. And we've got her on the phone. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very good, very good. Glad that we got a chance to make that connect. Yeah, it was my fault on the number situation. I gave them 518 and not 519 as the area code. So
see, you thought I was just being one of those rappers that just is too cool to call in at the right time and be like, an hour late or something. So
I wouldn't assume the worst. Never, never, never. No. I know how it is.
Man.
I know how it is in the biz, but it's all good. It was my mistake. But now we got you on here, Whitney Peyton. Some incredible music that we got playing on the air here. We're very excited to announce that you're going to be here live in Guelph on Saturday, February 27th. So really looking forward to having you up here in the hometown and checking you out live for sure. So how's things going? You've got this new album out. It's called Break the Frame, and you're touring a little bit now. How's it feel having the album out and being able to go out and reach some of the fans?
It's amazing. I mean, it's crazy because before I even dropped the album, I released it for pre-order, and I had never really released an album for pre-order, a month ahead of time, and that's really what I did. So before I even dropped the album, I pretty much had to re-up on my stock of the album. I was pretty much sold out before I even dropped it. So it's been really insane, and I haven't been in Canada in since 2013. I came up with Twisted, and I did a really short tour there. But I'm so excited to come back because you guys tend to be nicer up there, and I don't even mean to hate on the States. Obviously, this is my home, but we're mean. I think we're mean. I think you guys are way nicer. So I think I'm excited to come kick it with you guys.
Word up. Awesome. That's cool. And it's good that our reputation stands as being the nice people because, I get that a lot from people that come up from the States, especially just kind of like the crowd reactions and how the energy is here. Even kind of similar to Europe, like fans just seem to appreciate it a little bit more, especially from artists like you, which we don't get to see very often, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I'm not dissing the U.S. in any way, shape, or form, but it's just like we do get to see a lot of the music all the time. A lot of the artists are from here or live here now, and it's just like we're hard to impress. You know what I mean? Like I go perform in L.A., I go perform in New York City and stuff, and I get a good reaction. I'm really fortunate that I get a good reaction everywhere I've gone, but it's still a challenge. Like I feel like I'm really put to the test, and I have to go 150% every time because it's like they've seen it all kind of thing. So I'm excited to come to Canada. I haven't been there, like I said, in a while, so it'll be good to come back. And I'm doing pretty much a brand new set since last time I came there because I've dropped so much since then. So anyone who, if they've even seen me before, which may not be likely because I wasn't as big at the time when I came through, hopefully they'll be stoked to see me again because they'll be seeing completely, new songs and a new show entirely.
For sure, yeah. No, it's definitely good that you've been working. There's a lot of artists that'll just kind of put out a project and ride out on it forever. And, they're always performing the same stuff. And fans need, especially nowadays, I feel like they're constantly wanting more content from, the people that they like. There's so much music out there, so they want to make sure the people that they are liking are continually putting out music and developing as an artist. And it's true with your case for sure. You're definitely doing that consistently.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely live in a world where people want things fast because they get it fast. Like the internet, they can go on and get anything within seconds, any kind of entertainment. So if you're not keeping up with it, that people have really short attention spans, so you really got to keep up with it, especially in hip-hop. I mean, in hip-hop, people drop 73 mixtapes a year. I don't even know. I can't keep up with it, but I like to drop full albums. I don't really drop mixtapes and stuff like that. I drop full records and whatnot. So I'm stoked. This just dropped. It hasn't even been out a month. It feels like forever already because I've heard the songs a million times, but it hasn't even been a month yet. Yeah,
I know. It's weird how that happens with music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, especially because I heard it so many times before it dropped, and I was thinking that everyone else already heard it. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I've heard these songs 100 times, so before my record even dropped, I was like tired of my own songs, and then it kind of renewed my like for them, I guess, and my love for them when people started reacting to it, because I was like, oh yeah, you guys haven't heard these songs yet. I forgot. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's intense when you're the artist, and especially when you have to sit through the engineering sessions and listening to your songs again and again and nitpicking and making sure that it sounds really proper, and then going over it and reviewing it, listening to the whole album, making sure that each song flows into the next one correctly and stuff. Fans don't even really understand that whole process. They're just like, oh, they just go in, record a track in the studio, it gets put on the album, and then we hear it. Woohoo. But it's like there's a huge process of really listening and fine-tuning your songs before they get out there. And that's exactly what you're talking about, going over these songs, listening to them 100 times, but it's still fresh for everybody else. And sometimes as an artist you get lost in that, thinking, oh, this is old material because you've heard it a bunch of times. But for a lot of people, and the majority of people that aren't even your fans yet, haven't even heard you, that's brand new freshness to them, and once they hear something that they've never heard before and enjoy it and like it, they'll start checking out the rest of your catalog.
Well, that's the beauty, too, of being independent or being in the underground, is just because, in the mainstream, I feel like, of course, most artists strive to be in the mainstream, but when you're mainstream, you release an album, and within, like, a month or two, it's kind of ran its course, and people are like, okay, so what's next? Like, you're already, you like, fell off after, like, a month, you know what I mean? Like, in the independent world, you're exactly right. There's so many people who haven't even heard of you yet, so you could show them an album from, like, several years ago, and they're like, this is brand new. This is, I'm just finding out about you, and they'll go and watch all your YouTube videos and be commenting on all this stuff that you're like, really? You like this? This is like 5 years old, and they like it because it's just so new to them, and it's crazy. It's wild to think about.
Yeah, definitely, and that goes the same way with all music, even the greats, the legends, from before that have laid down the foundation for us and paved the way and made so much music. Even now, fans have the chance to stumble upon, an old school artist of sorts and find their music and fall in love with it. And then it's all fresh and new to them, even though it was dropped 20, 25, 15, however many years ago, it's still fresh to them.
Well, the legends can make songs that are timeless. You know what I mean? That just goes to show those songs are timeless, and they don't get dated, so that's really quite an accomplishment, to be able to make songs that 20 years down the road and stuff can be appreciated. So that's, I think, what all artists should strive to do. We always try, we don't really think about that. We think about the now, and then we include things that are hot right now, like certain topics that are hot right now in the songs, not really thinking about, okay, let's, how can I make this a timeless song, rather than speaking on something that's really specific that is just not going to be relevant in a couple weeks,
Well, what do you think it takes? What are some of the ingredients that you feel, even working on songs so far, for the songs of yours that have lasted longer than others or had more appeal to your audience and to your fans? Which ones were the ones, and what was the criteria, and what things did you put into it that made it kind of timeless? Or what are your opinions as far as to make a timeless record? How do you go about that, and what do you need in it to make it timeless?
It's so weird, because any of my songs that I would consider my timeless songs that are truly the fan favorites, I didn't know that was going to happen, you know what I mean? They just kind of, they flowed from me really easily. I noticed any songs that I wrote that are my more timeless songs, were very effortless for me to write. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even do them on purpose. So I couldn't even just sit down, okay, I'm going to write a really timeless song right now. That's not even a thing that I could try to do. They were all 100% flukes, that I was just writing something that ended up being really relatable. I think relatable is a key word in a timeless record. I mean, I have songs, I don't know if you've heard my song Better. That's like a storytelling song.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, tingles. I get tingles. You just said the word better, and I got tingles in my cheek because of remembering listening to it. No, it's intense, and all the stories that you go through each of the verses, whew. Powerful.
Thank you. And the music video, I really wanted to capture that as well. So we kind of went through the stories in the music video. Those are based on real characters. All the characters I'm talking about are real. And then I just made them connect to each other at the end. So it was so easy to write when I'm just stating facts in the song. Like, all I have to do is tell the story of how it went. I didn't have to, like, to me, it was completely effortless. And even just making it rhyme, it somehow came together where it was, rhyming and poetic and just kind of came out like that. And, I think that's just like one of the reasons that's a timeless song. And someone like, my father growing up, he's really creative too. Like, my dad's super artsy. Growing up, he'd never really complimented me on anything. He would always tell me what I could have done to make, to do better, he never really was like, oh, this is amazing how it is. It would be always like, oh, you should change this, or you should change that. When that video and song came out, he called me and he was like, they should play that in all schools. Like, in every high school, they should play that video and stuff like that. And he was really complimenting me on it. And I was like, wow. Like, I don't think my dad's ever listened to one of my songs. So the fact that he called me and told me that Better was, his favorite song, and that he really, really liked the music video, that was, that to me told me, okay, this is a timeless song, because there's more than a 40-year age difference between me and my dad. So if he's 40 years older than me and he can appreciate a song, that means it crosses, generations.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing definitely that makes it timeless, if you can encapsulate all audiences and all age ranges and genders, and it reaches everybody. That song specifically, though, that's crazy to hear that you're saying that that's all based on a true story. If you can, like, tell the people, for those who haven't heard of this song, what that song was about, and if you can't even get personal with it, like, who were those people to you? Like, how close was that situation to you, if you don't mind sharing that info?
I mean, there's like 3 different characters in that. So there's certain people that were close to me, but then there's ones that I've altered things about the story to not get specific, because I didn't want families of people who have died to get angry at me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I changed around certain details and names and things like that, because because it was meant to honor people, and it was meant to tell a story in a way that is kind of telling people to appreciate life and not make a decision on a whim that you can't take back. Mm-hmm. And it's not meant to make an example of someone in a negative way. So I really had to be careful. I had to be careful doing it and push some boundaries doing it, because there were definitely people who were offended. Luckily I didn't offend any families of anybody, as far as I know, who has died. But I have had, several people in my life, unfortunately, take their own life. It's happened to me. It's happened a lot, and people who are close to me. So originally I was just going to write a song about suicide, like just do each verse about someone who has committed suicide. But then I really wanted to connect to the characters. So in real life, none of the characters are actually connected. It didn't happen like that exactly, but I connected them all for the sake, of the story, to end it and wrap it up in one, like that. Mm-hmm. But they all have a very similar story in what happened to them, and none of them cried for help. None of them kind of posted about it on the internet. It was a just very shocking thing that, each of these people that I knew that took their life and stuff like that. It was like kind of how truth is stranger than fiction, they say. So, these stories, people are usually pretty shocked when I tell them that they're based off of real people, but this is stuff that has happened in my life, or to friends who are really close to me, their friends. So that's who I drew all the inspiration from, either directly someone who was my friend or someone who was a friend of a friend for that particular song. But it was pretty intense. Writing it, I felt pretty emotional as well, and then doing the video, I felt really emotional. Directing that video, I think everyone who acted in that video did a great job. Mm-hmm. And it invokes emotion from the viewer, for sure.
It's powerful. It's intense, especially that ending scene when guy walks into the hotel, he starts arguing with the girl, he's cheating on his wife, and kills the girl he's cheating on, and then kills himself. Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it. But that was intense. That was raw. I was like, oh snap.
Yeah, she didn't want to go with him, so instead of, if she's not going to be with him, she can't be with anybody, and didn't think about the consequences of having children or having people that care about you, because I think people who do take their life, they don't think about all the people they're hurting, because they're just in the moment. So I really truly believe, any of my friends or anyone that I knew personally, if they could take it back, they would take it back. And that probably goes for a lot of people who have taken their life. If they could take it back and they could be living today, I'm sure they would. So it's just a thing that we got to pass on, and we do. We have to see it. Things are too sugar-coated, I think, in schools and stuff nowadays. So, when my dad called me and said that, I was a little surprised, what, show it in schools? What are you talking about? But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? They should show stuff like this in schools, because this is reality, and this is what happens if you, OD on drugs, and this is what happens if you, decide to make a major crazy decision in the spur of a moment, so it's maybe sometimes things like this should be shown to the youth. I mean, I'm sure they're on the internet seeing all types of stuff, but as far as what we're teaching them,
Yeah, for sure. I 100% believe that. And how are you with schools and stuff and that whole topic, talking about anti-bullying and stuff? I did read somewhere that you were working on this side project for charity, vocals on this All About Bullies, Big and Small, and the album went on to win a Grammy Award for Best Children's Album, as well as the Parent Choice Gold Award in 2012 there. What's the backstory on that as far as writing and working on that project, and also just the whole message of anti-bullying and just bringing important messages and awareness to children, and doing it in a way that children can listen to it too, because a lot of rap music nowadays, some of my friends post all the time, I really wish people would send me some clean songs or clean versions of their albums so I can play it around my kids. You know what I mean? And my mom always is on me about that. Can you make your albums clean so that kids can listen to it? And it's it's hard to do that sometimes. So what are your thoughts on, making that kind of music, and then also how it's able to affect the children in the schools?
I mean, it's crazy, because when I was approached to do that project by the producers, I said no at first. I told them no, because I told them I'm not a children's artist. I think parents are going to be really mad if I'm on this album, and then they look me up and then they see that I curse and different things like that, and I appeal more to a college-age demographic. And they were like, listen, it's fine, the kind of artist that you are, but you just don't curse on this record. It's fine that you make this other music, but just don't curse on this record. Just write it geared toward elementary school kids, you know what I mean? And just accept the challenge of trying something different. And I was like, you know what? I will do that, because I want to show I'm versatile. If you're not a versatile artist, you can only make one kind of music, you know what I mean, geared towards one demographic. But if you're versatile, you can do all types of projects. So I haven't limited myself to just one kind of, genre or project. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it, because it's benefiting a charity. They're like, you're not going to get paid to do it. It's all going to go to charity. It's, all going to go to help kids and stuff who are being bullied. And I was like, I really can't say no to this, because I dropped out of high school because I was being bullied for being a rapper. So how am I going to be a hypocrite and say no to this anti-bullying album when I was, heavily bullied for wanting to be a rapper in the suburbs? This white girl, before there was even any really, really popular white girl, suburban kind of rappers, that just didn't exist. So, I caught a lot of slack for that. So I was like, you know what, I am going to do this record, and I wrote for it. I wrote one of the songs, I did vocals on it, and then, it won a Grammy for Best Children's Album. I think we were against Disney or some other just major company in the category. So we were the major underdogs in this, and we just came out on top somehow. And it was so surreal, because I was actually there at the Grammy Awards that year. We all flew out to California, the Staples Center, and when they called the album title, I was like, "This is for real. This is serious. We really won this Grammy right now," and it just was awesome. So, I mean, that's something I'll just never forget in my life. But it's crazy, because it did for a while there. Anytime you would try to Google my name, it was it was helping you finish your search by saying children's album. So it'd be Whitney Peyton, and it'd be children's album, this and that. So for a while there, it kind of messed with my image as far as like people just associating me with being a children's like rapper, which I only made like one or two songs for children's albums, and I've made like hundreds of songs for like college age demographic. So that was a little weird being categorized as a children's artist for like a good year there, where I couldn't really like escape that. But whatever. I mean, it's still a major accomplishment, something that I'll never regret or forget, and something that I can definitely claim. And it raised a lot of money for the charity. So it was Make-A-Wish Foundation, I believe, was the charity that it was benefiting.
That's dope.
Yeah, so and it raised a lot of money for it as far as I, understand. So totally worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah, we got a charity fundraiser coming up here very soon, next month out in Maxwell's Music House for Make-A-Wish Foundation. Definitely doing anything that you can to help out for charity projects is always good, and that's great that you shared the story of being bullied when you were in high school, and that being a major factor in making you decide to go ahead with making that album. And it's true, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't sit back and
Right.
be a victim of circumstances and then not do anything to stand up and make a change once the opportunity's in your hands. So it's great that you stepped up, and you obviously got a wicked response from it, especially getting that Grammy. Like most big artists aspire to have a Grammy at their side or somehow connected to it, and you made it happen. So that's huge. Big congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I still have yet to like win my own for like a solo project. That was, of course, a compilation project. So it's more so the producers who really, really get recognized. And I was not one of the producers. I'm one of the songwriters and vocalists, but I was still there to accept it and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a major accomplishment that I have on my resume. No one can surely take that away. And above all, it benefited the charity, because that's what I signed up for. I mean, in no way, shape, or form did I know it was going to be submitted, nominated, and then win a Grammy. Like, there's just no way to know that prior to a project happening. So when I was asked to be on it, it was solely because they were like, this is a children's album that's benefiting Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I was like, okay, yeah, and this is anti-bullying. Okay, you're right. Like you said, you just got to step up and do it. Because if you're getting this platform where you're able to be heard, and then you're not going to use it for any good whatsoever, just like, what are you doing with your life? So, I mean, that's just how I feel.
That goes 100% right into like what your life purpose is and why you're here. And a lot of people don't really understand what that is for themselves, and it's the reason why they wake up every day just doing the same thing repetitively and not really furthering or bettering themselves or helping out with humanity, because they don't really know what their purpose is and what they're actually here for. And it seems that you yourself as an artist, you definitely know the reasons why you're here, and you're using your talents and your abilities as to the best of your ability to get to make those missions happen and actually affect some positive change in the world. It's a great thing to see. I love it, because there's a lot of artists that just talk nonsense and write really annoying songs that aren't good. And you're doing something different. So I like it.
I have definitely written annoying songs. I mean, I think you got to have a balance. I get these artists. I understand the artists that write the silly club songs that are meaningless, but you have to have a balance between putting songs like that out and then putting songs that are deeper out, because I get it. Like, sometimes your life is just so complicated and crazy, you just want to hear a stupid song that just is dumb. You know what I mean? That like is just repetitive and easy to learn and not thought provoking, because you're like, my life is already complicated. But then to balance it out, if you want to be a versatile, multi-dimensional artist, you then have to have things on the flip side that are deep and thought-provoking and actually get a rise of some sort of emotion out of someone. But I think the party songs are equally as important. It's just they tend to oversaturate the mainstream right now, for sure. You're right.
100%. But it all goes back to that versatility, right? And even though like you do have some of those more party type songs, it's still lyrical. It's still got some, some form of messages in and amongst it, talking about how some guys are just, misogynistic and stuff, and how, you know, and navigating the world as a woman is a little bit difficult and stuff like that. But it's mixed into like the party stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad you recognize it, because a lot of people actually do not recognize that in my club songs, there's a lot of things I say sarcastically, and there's a lot of things I say that people think don't make sense, but they make a lot of sense, or some sort of punchline. And I'm very nerdy, and I refer to movies and stuff a lot in my punchlines, and some people don't get them. They don't get the punchlines because they're not as nerdy, and they haven't either read the book I'm talking about, or like the movie, or get my political reference or something like that. And they're like, this is dumb. This is just doesn't make any sense, and blah, blah, blah. But actually, if you break down my lyrics, I've never said anything that doesn't make sense. I've never just said something that is nonsensical. Even in my party tracks, I'm saying something that makes sense, but some people just really, it goes over them, I think, and then they just think it, and then they think it's dumb. So it's funny. So my true fans really do get it. Or they're just like me. They maybe just have a personality more like me, where they get my humor. So
read the same.
Cool. That's refreshing.
Yeah, they're reading the same books and watching the same movies for sure.
Yeah, and get my references and humor, and then rather than just like dismissing it as not making sense or being an unclever punchline or something, when just because they didn't understand what it meant. So that's funny.
Listeners, step your game up.
Yes.
You gotta listen. You gotta be smart to take in Whitney Peyton. All right, you gotta be reading your books, people. Reading your books. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just touring here. There's a lot of people that you've had the pleasure of working with. Obviously, you mentioned earlier Twisted. They're coming up to Canada soon to do a big Canada run, and you've done some stuff with Ari the Rugged Man, Zion I, Lazy Bone of Bone Thugs and Harmony. One of the artist that was mentioned here that you've performed with that I was interested in asking you about, it said that you got a chance to do some touring or shows with Kid Inc.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was probably a year and a half or 2 years ago that I did shows with Kid Inc., but I did like 3 consecutive shows with the dude, and it was amazing because it was really my demographic. It was a good demographic for me. The people who like Kid Inc., I found out also like me, which I had no idea going into it what was going to happen. But yeah, it was amazing. I crowd surfed on a raft, which is my usual MO. So it was cool. It was cool. Everyone was there to have a good time, and it was positive vibes. I hate, doing those shows where people come to the concerts to not have a good time. I just don't understand that. I don't understand people going to concerts to like mean mug all the artists. And I watch them. I watch the different people, the whole show, and I'm like, oh, maybe this person's just mean mugging this one artist because they just don't like them, but they like a different artist and they came to see them. But I'm watching the whole show and they'll just hate every single artist, and I'm like, why did you come? There's not one artist you were trying to see. You wanted to hate on every single artist. There wasn't one that made you happy. You stood with your arms folded the whole time. Like, it's just really mind-blowing to me. I don't understand that mindset. I understand the mindset of having a good time and enjoying the music, and people who come, you can really tell who's open to hearing new artists, and then who really is a challenge, and you have to get them to open up a little bit, but then they're all in usually. They're all in after a few songs.
Yeah, you just got to win them over. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a battle for you, but that's cool that you got a chance to rock stages with him and some of those other rappers that I was mentioning. Getting to that level and performing on those stages in front of those crowds, and then being able to win them over and make them fans of your own is one of the keys to success in the industry right now. I see so many artists doing that, getting on bigger tours with other artists and getting exposed to a bigger fan base, and then having the chance to capture some of that audience for themselves. And, there's a big pie out there and lots to go around. So, artists that bring other artists on stage and on tour with them and stuff, I think it's really crucial to the development of them and being able to rock stages that are bigger and stuff like that. It did say you've also collaborated with Chris Webby. We've got Chris Webby coming up to Guelph very soon. What was your experience like working with him? I've met Chris several times because we've been on
I can't think. I don't think we've done a show together, but we've always crossed paths on tour. So I've met him several times. I actually was on a song with him that was also with Twisted. So Twisted had me, him, 3-6 Mafia, the remaining members, and Kung Fu Vampire, and who else? R.A. the Rugged Man. We're all on one song, all of us. So it's called Wasted Part 2, because they had a Wasted 1 that they put out, but they put out another version of it called Wasted Part 2, and they just had all of us on it. So that I wasn't actually in the studio with Webby at the time, but I have met him several times and hung out with him several times. So it wasn't that shocking to see him on the record, because I knew that we were all in the same kind of realm of music. We've all been in the same scene for a while now, so it was just really a matter of time before we were on a record together. But I'd love to get him on one of my tracks. So hopefully in the future we'll do a track just me and him together, and that would be really, really cool. But yeah, tell him I say what's up when he comes through.
Definitely will. For sure. All right, well, I'm going to let you go here soon, but I wanted to wrap up here just by asking you what's kind of the next step for Whitney Peyton. What do you got coming out after this album that you're currently working on? Where's the tour stretching as far as, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, I just dropped Break the Frame January 5th, and then I tour on it. I've already done one really short headlining tour on it, but this is the second leg of the headlining tour that is going to be coming to the, one date in Canada, but it's going to be going all over the United States. And then right after this tour, I meet up with Cottonmouth Kings, and I'm doing a full tour with Cottonmouth Kings.
Wow, that'll be dope.
So, yeah. So I've done a couple dates already with Cottonmouth Kings. They're really cool guys. It's gone over amazingly. So I'm thinking it's going to be super dope. So that's what you can look out for from me, because I just released this record. So new music has already come out. You can expect new music videos. You can expect tour and everything to follow up this record. So just look out for that.
Awesome. Word up. Well, looking forward to checking all that stuff out and getting a chance to meet and connect with you while you're out here in Guelph. And I hope you get a chance to see, there's a local artist here in Guelph. Her name's Molly Gruesome, and she is a deadly femc, big into the whole juggalo scene and stuff, always doing shows with Tech Nine and Twisted and all those guys.
I'm familiar with her.
Okay, cool. So she's going to be out at the show, so you'll get a chance to meet her and possibly get a chance to check her set. That's there,
awesome.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I've heard of her and I've heard her stuff. I'm familiar with her, so that'll be cool. I've just never met her in person, so that'll be cool to finally link up.
Definitely. Word up. Well, much respects for taking the time for the interview. Looking forward to catching you here live in Guelph, February 27th at Van Gogh's Ear. It's going to be a live one, so much respects to you.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys there.